We're here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. because we want to grow you as a defender.
The defender seeks the challenge of standing up for what's morally and ethically right, and is willing to step forward and put themselves in harm's way because they believe that sacrifice and love is the way to do things.
And what we mean by that is that you can grow as a good shooter, but what we're really here for is to help you grow personally as a defender. We know that personal growth and shooting growth go hand in hand, and we want to work to help you become better people in your lives, in your everyday lives, and that's going to translate to your shooting on the range. So that's what we're here for. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Defenders Live with Laura Thorson. I am your host, Laura Thorson. And tonight we're doing a pre-recorded broadcast, but still dropping it on February 1st, 2023. So welcome. I'm glad that you're here. And if you're watching this as a new viewer or as a replay, welcome. And I just want to let you know that I do have Adam Winch in the background as usual. So if you see him pop in from time to time, he's the founder of Defenders USA. And he may have questions or may pop in. That's how we roll around here. So no big deal if you see that, if he happens to come in on the screen. So speaking of Adam, I just want to run a quick message from Adam about our friends and sponsors.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Winch with Defenders USA. I want to tell you about some of our friends and sponsors. I'm a brand ambassador with H&K Firearms. I carry a VP9 from H&K in defensive life. I use it on the range. I use it in training. This is my go-to gun. I highly recommend the VP9 from H&K. Next, Iron American. You can see this bottle here or the one that's hanging off my range bag in front of the camera. That's what I use for liquid chalk on the range. There's also a discount code through Defenders USA that you can get some, and I'd strongly encourage you to order some liquid chalk from Iron America. Next, my gun is carried in a Haven Defense Co. holster. You can find them at havendefenseco.com, Haven Defense Co. You can see their brown leather patch on the front of the bag. And then, of course, there's a Defenders USA patch. You can come to training and try to earn that patch, too, from Defenders USA.
So guys, we have a different kind of episode tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun. We have a special guest on tonight, Shelley Hill from the Complete Combatant, and she is going to run me through some training tonight, and we're going to learn together some new information. So Shelley is the co-owner and instructor at the Complete Combatant. She's an H&K brand ambassador and currently writing for Shooting Illustrated. She's also the mastermind behind Image Based Decisional Drills. And as I said, she'll be taking me through some of that training tonight and breaking down some lessons to be learned. Let's bring Shelley Hill on. Shelley, welcome. Oh, you're muted, hun. Oh, there. I unmuted you. There you are.
This would have been a very, very short session for you if I couldn't speak.
Yeah. Well, I don't know much sign language, so that might have been difficult. So I didn't do you justice at all, Shelley. Is there anything else that you can tell us, fill in the gaps about your background?
Actually, you did really well. I started down this journey, this path many years ago. It was probably about 2012 when I started getting pretty serious about decisions and carrying on body, and it just kind of went from there. Like everybody, you start somewhere, and as you grow and get more information and education, your decisions will probably change. Things that you thought about 2 years ago may be different on where you're at today. So I just really like that part of learning, and so I just kind of went with it. And where I'm at today is I really appreciate making really good decisions. So hence the image-based decisional drills, or something else out there that's called smart choices, and that's just for kids. So yeah, I'm really into making one good first decision and being well-rounded. And as efficient as you possibly can with whatever tool or decision you make.
Yeah, because a lot of people make it about the tool, right? And you talk about it's not about the tool necessarily. Yes, you need to make good decisions about that, but those first decisions are crucial based on time and distance. That's a huge thing, right?
Yep, yep. I actually teach 3 online classes. One is called Reactionary Zones, and that's all about distance management and understanding that certain tools or decisions need to be made quickly, or you may have more time based on the distance of, we would call that a potential threat. And then
Mhm.
we've got Interrupt the Attack Cycle, and that's another online class, and that's about pre-assault cues, your mindset, what that actually means, and how we can incorporate that to just every day, being able to understand what we're seeing. And then
Mhm.
we've got the image-based decisional drills, which is kind of what we're focusing on today, and that can be taught in person, or I've got that online, and that's where we're going to kind of run through some stuff today. Obviously, not the whole class, but just give you kind of an idea of the importance of using images to help you make really good first decisions.
Awesome. Well, let's get into it. How does this go, Shelley? Let's do it.
I love it. Well, this here is, first of all, let's talk about what image-based decisional drills is
Okay.
and some of its benefits.
Okay.
Where it actually came from, Miss Laura, is that I'm dyslexic, and dyslexia is a learning disorder. And that can affect your spelling, your reading, your numbers, the way that you actually speak, and the way you read. And
Hmm.
I hit the absolute jackpot on that. I am, I can't say severe, but I hit the jackpot on having all but one of those. And it is more to moderate moving into the severe dyslexia, which
Hmm.
means I read backwards where people would start here and read. However,
Hmm.
you're seeing that on the camera, you read from left to right. I
Yeah.
read at the bottom and move up, which means my brain is discombobulated.
You
So what
move
I've
you read
learned,
from the bottom up?
well, that's what I had been doing as a teen. But what we figured
Oh.
out just a few years ago is all I have to do, I'm just going to use this for an example, is you would just read this if it was in front of you.
Mhm.
Image-based decisional drills: walk away, articulation, direction, obstacles, and plan. Verbal commands: run, articulate, direction, obstacles, and plan. Flashlight, OC, shoot, failure to neutralize, call 911, tourniquet, articulate, plan. What are your life-saving?
But wait, if you turn that over like the other way, then you have a hard time reading it.
So I
That's
read it
insane.
completely flipped,
Wow.
upside down,
Huh.
and my retention is better, and I can read as fast as you can.
Wow.
All the other ones that I mentioned, I trip over my words sometimes, and it's not because my brain is in front of my tongue or my mouth. It's because I lose the word. I lose the word why and how all the time.
Hmm.
So that's real stuff. But where I got lucky, and Shooting Illustrated said, I think you can do this, is I can write. Now, everything I spell is wrong. Thank God they edit. But everything is wrong. They got to
So they
figure it out.
proofread it then, I see.
God. But I somehow got lucky where I actually can write like I speak. So people can relate in some way that may be different than others. So
Hmm.
I got lucky on that. So that's where image-based decisional drills came from, is several years ago. I wanted to try to figure out how I can learn best in this community, right? That has a
Mhm.
lot of words and a lot of reading and a lot of studying, that you can't necessarily do hands-on. So I
Mhm.
spoke with Claude Werner, my dearest friend, and my husband, Brian Hill, and we started working together. And I told him, this is my goal. And after about a year, my goal came, and I ran my first image-based decisional drills at the Mingle several years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and here we are now.
Cool.
So it was more about you guys understanding that being able to make one good first decision is very important,
Mhm.
because any decisions after that, if it's a good first decision, chances are the ones after that will probably be pretty decent too.
Mm-hmm.
But if you make one first bad decision or suboptimal decision, there's also a very high chance that the decisions to follow that may not be, well, as good as we would want, because our outcome is to remove ourselves from that situation safely.
Mm-hmm.
So the definition of success for image-based decisional drills is to quickly make one good first decision based on visual stimuli and then to instantly act on it. We're looking for helping to be more confident, decisive, efficient, and explosive.
Explosive.
So,
Oh, geez.
explosive. That's it. Yeah. It's funny because the late, great William April, wonderful man, and of course what he contributed to this community is outstanding, but he used the word explosive, and that just kind of stuck with me. So I think of when you're making a decision and you're going to act on it, do it.
Commit to it. Yeah.
Commit to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank William for that one, because I use that word almost every single day.
I don't know how explosive I'm going to be, but we'll see.
I love it. So what we're going to do today is kind of maybe understand that decisions are more important than techniques. And people like to send me emails and throw rotten fruit at me because they're like, no, you got to have the techniques. Oh, absolutely. But we believe, and so many other wonderful people believe, when we train, it's good to have a well-rounded arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
To think about being really good at verbal commands, being really good at understanding, and being able to articulate or the motion of less than lethal, non-lethal, and lethal decisions. But then you've got to understand the consequences of each,
Mm-hmm.
your state laws, all this stuff comes into play.
Yeah, and you have seconds to think of all of that at one time.
That's exactly it. So what we try to do is help people understand that if you want this technique, sub-second draw, pre-deploy pepper spray, being able to tell someone get away without having to go through all these files of what should I say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've already practiced them. If we want all of that technique to come, don't you need to make really good decisions to practice that technique?
Mm-hmm.
The decisions come first, everything else follows.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I come from as far as decisions are more important than techniques, because that's your weapon, that's your tool.
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes afterwards. So
yeah.
The image-based decisional drills is something that is, it's really used with what we would call recognition prime decision making. And in a nutshell, without getting too deep into this wonderful type of learning, is if you see images, which we see every day, right? A movie, more in fact, and you are getting in information. And when you train in this style with images, videos, something to that effect, and have to make really quick decisions, your brain really doesn't know the difference. Your brain doesn't understand we're training. So what it's doing is making some wonderful files in your brain with really good decisions. So when this image may come up in your brain 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now, it's filed in there. So hopefully we have that ability to recognize it instantly, which means your brain gets rid of everything that's not needed.
Survival mechanism.
There it is. And it comes right up because it's recognition prime meaning the best, decision, meaning we have to make a decision, making. So it's going, no, yes. And we recognize that this at 6 feet isn't good. You know, you don't think to yourself, is it happening to me? I can't believe it. They came out of nowhere. You go, that's not good. I've seen it before.
Freezing.
That's it. Yeah, I've seen it before. I'm going to make a decision. So that's what we're hoping for.
Cool. This sounds fun.
It is. It's kind of fun.
Your enthusiasm for this just gets me.
Best job ever. So we do have time restraints. So anybody that is watching this, just understand we're just touching the tip of the iceberg on information and so on and so forth, right? We're just kind of getting there.
Yeah.
So with this that we're going to do, we, and obviously all my personalities with Miss Laura, is we're just going to go through kind of how you would practice at home. And we'll kind of touch base on the online class. And then once again, we have got probably 100 certified image-based instructors all over the country that teach this. So you can do this in person as well, maybe even in your own backyard. So it's all about recognition, prime decision making, and being able to make the really good first decision based on what you see. So it's simply that. So here we go. You can do this dry practice. You can do it absolutely live. That is completely up to you, what your range allows. Once again, do your research. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to make sure that we have all of the tools that are needed to make really good decisions. So in the kit, you're going to have a bunch of different tools that come with it. Okay, so our main decisions, and I know you can't really read this well, that's okay. Our main decisions, can you see it okay, Miss Laura?
Mm-hmm.
Is going to be walk away. This is our cheat sheet that comes with the kit. Verbal commands, run, flashlight, pepper spray, shoot, which means lethal decision, call 911 so we can get some help and articulate what's happened. Tourniquet, I'm sorry, but that's as important as anything in here is to have basic medical. And we like for you to have one life-saving skill, which would be how to apply a tourniquet. And then it talks about after you flip over a card, but these are our main. Now there is a 9th one out there, and that 9th option is force on force. And that one there does have a prerequisite. If you are going to use the force on force card, then you've got to have some training in it, either something in the past that was extensive or something you do daily with a partner that isn't so cooperative. Just taking a self-defense course once a year does not mean you can use this. So this means you have a technique, you know what it's called, you understand what you need to do in the outcome. This is different than learning on the job.
Yeah, I would not want to learn on the job.
But this is different.
I guess sometimes you don't have much of a choice.
That's it. That's it. That you're in a situation that you've been pushed to the ground, and now you bite, you kick, you scream, you do absolutely everything you can to be such a nuisance that you can separate and get some space. That's completely different. That's learning on the job, and that's just going for it because that's instinct. The other is having a technique or words behind it. That's what it is.
Okay.
So you also have to have some sort of fake, inert, or disabled firearm that you've checked several times. Once again, this is on
Here's
you.
my fake firearm, everybody.
This is the best show ever.
No one's going to think that's real, will they?
Right. So I'm showing.
Use what you've got.
My favorite memories. Please screenshot that and send it to me. So we'll use something if we have to make a lethal decision that we either need to do something immediately or even a low ready and verbal commands. These are once again decisions you would need to make. But I like the CERT because it gives us feedback immediately on when you press the trigger. You got a pretty little light like a cat likes to chase, so you get to see it. So this would be something that you would need. You also need to have a flashlight. Once again, all of this comes in your kit, but if you buy something that's called a no kit, you get all the good stuff just minus the tools, right? Okay. So like what Laura's working with is she's just going to go ahead and work with the tools she has at hand because we're just going to do it for this particular podcast. So here in it comes a push phone, so we don't accidentally call someone, and you're required to 911 send or 911 hands-free, and that's what we would use to call 911 in these scenarios. A flashlight is very, very important. A lot of people forget or don't recognize how important a flashlight is. So the ability to be able to turn it on, identify who's there, who goes there, or put it at the back of the bottom of your purse so you can find what fell underneath the front seat of your car. I'll take it for that. And the next one is your OC or pepper spray. In the kit comes with Palm. Oh, the flashlight's from HK, so thank you. And this is Palm. This is inert, which means it's a practice. So this has got water in it. So you could press it and you could practice with that. Or you can use something I like as a little, just a cut dowel rod. And we have a top. So we know what we're doing and how to acclimate to use it. So what I'd like for you to do, Miss Laura, show me what you're using for your phone.
Okay. Well, I'm using my phone, except I shut it off.
Perfect. I love it. So the phone is good. Tell me, do you have any force on force true training that either is a background that you still have, it's like riding a bike, or do you have something that you train with weekly?
No, I have very little force on force training.
That means when we get into this, it may be on the job training, which means, once again, it's not that you don't fight. It just means it's not something that is a technique that you've learned from somebody else. That's the only difference. So I'm going to take that force on force and I'm going to get it out of the way because you can't use that card.
Right.
So we've got our phone. Do you have a flashlight out there?
Yes.
Awesome. That means if there's a card that comes up that's kind of dark, I would want you, I won't turn this on and blind you. I would want you to actually turn your flashlight on.
I'm afraid it might be too bright.
Right? Let me see. That's bright, but it doesn't hurt. Is this, I'm going to do it to you. Is that too bright?
That's fine. Yeah. I'll use, maybe I could use this setting instead.
Yeah, use whatever you want.
Okay.
Love it. So if I put a card up here that's really dark and you can't quite see, well, don't you need a flashlight to, first of all, gather more information, possibly ID that person? That's your flashlight. You can also use it as deselection, but once again, we can't go too deep. So we've got that. We've got our pepper spray. Show them your pepper spray.
It's a toilet paper roll.
This is the best show ever. So we've got that. Where are you at? And then, of course, we know our firearm. Let's look at that one more time.
It's good.
It is awesome.
Yeah. Perfect. No one's going to mistake it for a real one.
They're not. It is awesome. So we've got that. So let's go ahead and see where you're at. Do you have any medical training?
I do.
Awesome. So that means I'm not going to waste my time going through the simple steps to apply a tourniquet, which this is from Dr. Sherman House and myself. We got together and made this up. So since you already have this, I'm just going to put that to the side.
Okay.
Because we've got that. But that's how important is that if you have a card come up that is an obvious we need to do something, then she's got the background that she can verbally tell us, hey, listen, I would put a tourniquet on. It would be as high up on that arm as possible. I would tighten it until the bleeding stops. May not be very comfortable. Once the bleeding stops, if I'm using a tourniquet that has a hands-free, windless, then I can go ahead and tighten that, hook it up so I can call 911 and get out that location first. That's what I just told you is called cognitively stacking. She made one good first decision. Isn't that what we're looking for? That's tourniquet. What's the second good first decision she made? Tighten it until the bleeding stops. What's the next good first decision that she made? Calling 911. What is the next good decision she made?
There's so many.
Made her location first. That's it. So one good first decision, and then we can stack other good decisions. Well, not necessarily first, but one good first decision, and then we have good decisions that follow it. So that's what that is. Okay, in your kit, you also get a book. And in this book, it talks about just some little nuggets for you to understand reactionary zones that you understand. You can't make the same first decision at 6 feet as you would at 25 feet. Right? So all of that's important. Once again, we're not going deep into that. We're just going to have some fun. And we're going to challenge Laura to see what her first decision
I hope I don't fall out of my chair or something. Don't give me anything too scary.
You're good. What you see behind me, because I'm going to do a demo once or twice just to make sure
good.
people understand. Behind me, you see I've just taken a good old-fashioned IDPA target, whatever. I've cut it so I can travel with it, and I've printed out from our website. It's called Downloadables. It's free. Do it. I've printed out the dude's face, and I put a red arrow so I know exactly what I'm doing when I train with that pepper spray. I've also put a dog that is unfriendly, because we can't forget of changing angles, and we can't forget that sometimes we need to react to animals and not just people. So it's good to have that, once again, well-rounded. All right. So I'm going to challenge Laura without knowing all of her background, without knowing if she's got decisional training or if she's got training with different tools other than the firearm. See, I don't know any of this about Miss Laura, and we kept it this way so we could just challenge. So here's what we're going to do. I will, in just a second, demo first, and I will count down myself. We're looking at making a really good first decision and acting on it in about 5 seconds, which, believe it or not, that is a ton of time. Okay. So once you guys see the card for roughly 5 seconds, I'll just make sure I know what card I've got. I'll put it down, and then you're going to see me stand up. You only get part of my body. That's okay. And you're going to see me react to that in under 5 seconds, and picking whichever tool I think we would be needing as a first good decision for a newer person. You have 5 seconds. The image is happening to you, in front of you, beside you. You are alone, and everybody is a stranger. It's not like this is your house. This is not your house. This is not your neighborhood. So don't put in your brain that, oh, wait, Shelley, am I by myself? Yeah, you are. I already told you that. That's stalling. So just so you know, 5 seconds, you are alone. These are strangers. It's happening to you, in front of you, beside you. It's usually around that 4-yard mark. And that's because it's about the length of a car. It's also as far as your pepper spray will go. And that's a very common distance for the attack cycle. So unless it's very obvious further or very obvious closer, you'll be around that distance. Okay. And then depending on the distance, depends on the tool. All right, dear, are you ready?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let me pick a card here.
And you're going to demo first?
Yes, you don't have to do anything. So I just picked a card. This is random. Once again, I haven't seen it. I'm going to see it, but you're going to see it first. Well, we'll see it together. How's that? So about 5 seconds. I have just flipped over this card. It looks like I'm down towards the ground. So I'm going to call this, I'm tying my shoe, and I look up. First good decision is always to avoid or leave if possible. Yeah. This person is looking down. Oh, I'm upside
down. Upside down.
That's upside down. Right? Decisions matter, people. So I'm tying my shoe. The reason I know that, does you see that there's a puddle in front of me? Yeah. That means I'm lower to the ground and I'm looking up at this person. I am probably about 18 to 20 feet from them, which means I probably have the distance to beat feet to get out of there. And as you look, he's looking down. That's to my benefit as well. Now, it's at night, which means we can't see as well. We've got a distance, which means we might be able to not be able to see truly his hands. Most important thing we're looking at is his hands. Are they hidden? Yeah. Is he making a movement towards them? I can't tell. I mean, right. Is there a weapon? That's what we look for. Yeah. That's what we look for. So this particular one, as long as he was looking down, my first good decision is just leave.
Yeah.
But if he was looking up at
you.
me tying my shoe
Mm-hmm.
and put a foot down off that wall and faced me and said, "Hey, sweet thing, why don't you come over here?" That's different, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
That means pre-need decisions need to be in play. You want me to do one more, or are you
Sure.
ready?
I don't.
Okay.
Either or. I don't care.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
12 to 14 feetish. Very dark.
And you didn't see him in advance. You just happened to just walk up on him, huh?
Welcome to life.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
I've used my flashlight, and I have pre-deployed my pepper spray.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-deployed pepper spray. And leave. If you can leave. This is getting close to the distance that you really can't run away without them making 2 or 3 steps towards you and be able to reach you. All of this you learn. Right now, we're just going with what we know knowledge-wise. So this means if I'm walking, I didn't see this person, the first thing I might do is, since it is night, would I carry a flashlight? Yeah, it'd be somewhere in my pocket. I can ID that person. Also, flashlights could be used for disorientation, but I can ID that person who goes there and try to leave that area. But if that person does not want me to leave that area and starts walking towards me and ignores my ask, tell, verbal commands, then make comes immediately up next with, "Don't move! Get away from me!" I've used verbal commands. I've sprayed him. I've run to a safe area. 911 send. 911, what's your emergency? Location and basic description of what happened. There's more to that, but not for us today. That's cognitively stacking. One good first decision. It's at dark. I made the decision to have some pretty good tools in my pocket. I made the decision to learn how to use them so these techniques work. I made the decision to ID this person first, not do it blindly. And I tried to get away, and if it didn't happen, it was okay, because I carry pepper spray in my dominant hand, because that's where I train. And I was able to use that with a verbal command and get out of there and get some help.
Okay.
You ready?
And I still would not be, I would still be, even as I'm calling 911, keeping an eye out, because even though you're safe in that safe location, that could change at any moment depending on, I would keep eyes on that guy.
There you
Wouldn't
go.
you? Yeah.
Once again, these are decisions that are up to you. If you can articulate why you think it would be good to not completely leave that area, then that's up to you. Is it up to you to stay there and hold him until the police get there? Or is it up to you to get out of there so you're safe? Ah,
I get what you're saying.
Me, the first good decision would be to
You mean like leave, like get in the car and go, or
run.
not staying nearby
Can't
at
see him
all.
at all. Could care
Yeah.
less.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Because you're out of it now. As John Correa would say, outsource your violence.
Outsource your violence. I love
Isn't that
that.
great? Thank you, John.
Yeah.
That is just enough. What you've done is good enough. We're looking for good enough.
Okay.
Right? So what you've done is good enough. Get out of there. You've earned the space. Let them take over. You have an idea. You knew where you were at. You have an idea of what he looked like just because of you saw him. Right?
Yeah, that's the whole point of breaking contact. You literally I don't know why my instinct is to keep eyes on him. I don't know where that comes from.
Let them take care of it. Let them take care of it.
Got
Absolutely.
it. Okay.
Absolutely. Gone.
Okay.
Avoid leave.
Yes.
All right. All right. This is now you. We give 5 seconds, but truthfully, I'm going to give you about 10 to really look at the image. And then you are either going to do it or articulate what you're going to do in the sequence of what you would truly do. Okay, so we want this to be as close to you personally with your experiences, your training. This is you on you. Has nothing to do with me. Okay.
Okay.
Done.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Well, I wanted to go to tourniquet first.
Okay.
And 911 second is what I'm thinking.
Articulate right
But
now. You come up on this, you see this person, it's in front of you, it is a stranger, it is happening. What are you doing,
I'm trying to
Laura?
decide if whether he's breathing or not is more important than applying a tourniquet. That's what I'm trying to decide right now.
Okay. This is obvious. If he's breathing, he's breathing. What do we need to do?
Stop the
first?
bleeding.
There it is. So what do you do first?
Apply a tourniquet.
There it is. What leg are you putting it on?
The right leg.
How high are you going?
As high as I can.
Good. Stay out of the joint. How tight are you going?
As tight as I can.
No, until you stop the bleeding.
Oh, until you stop the bleeding. Well, for me, that would be as tight as I can.
There you go.
Sure.
So once again, it's just articulation. It's not because you're wrong. It's just, once again, if we communicate, so now I know that not it's just as tight as I can go, because you can always go tighter if needed. You know that you need to go until the bleeding stops. Awesome. You've got the bleeding under control. He's passed out. Decisions have to be made now.
Yeah.
That would be 911 or that would be CPR. No one's going to come help you until you get out that location. But yet, if you don't move quick, right? Could he bleed out in 30 or 45 seconds? For sure. So we've got to stop the bleed first.
Okay.
Then make decisions if he's not breathing.
Okay.
Then we've got to get into CPR and hope to God somebody's going to be there to help us.
Yeah, because he's not going to do any good if he's breathing, but he bleeds out.
That's it. And it's not going to do any good if we call 911 if he's not breathing.
He bleeds out. And then,
right? Okay. So these are all decisions. And the first good decision is going to usually have pretty good ones after that. But if we have the first bad decision,
right,
chances are.
Because time is of the essence in this situation. Well, in everyone, but yeah.
And once again, guys, please know this is always contextual. This is just training your brain. When I see a bleed out like this and I choose to go forward, I choose it. It's my decision. Then if you decide to do that, then you need to have some technique on stop the bleed. Because if you're going to go to them, you're not just going to go, wish I could help. You're going to move. So decisions are more important than the techniques. Make the decision to have that technique, and then you can act upon it. Great job. Great job. Okay, here we go. We got another one. Okay, this is happening to you about 10 feet from you. This is John Murphy's card. He's got his whole expansion pack. So here we go.
Oh, criminy. Wait, that's happening to me?
It's happening. You see it. It's in front of you. You do
That's
not know
in front of me, but I'm not the guy in the black hair.
No, are you that guy in the black hair?
No.
Well, then it ain't you.
And 10 feet, you said?
Roughly 10 feet from you. You're walking down the street. This is happening. What do?
I get the heck out if I can.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's it. So many people want to intervene.
He's not looking at me. He's mad at that guy.
Right. Is this your monkey?
No, I don't want that to be my monkey.
You want your first good decision to avoid or leave?
Yeah.
Because if you say, hey, dudes, knock it off, could one of those turn to you and now they're excited to talk to you instead of each other?
Yeah, no, I don't want any attention drawn to me at all.
Got it. Let's say you did say something and now the person with the black hair that ain't you has run away and the shirtless person now looks at you
Oh,
and
goody.
says, "You're dying today,"
No, I'm
and
not.
walks towards you. You can't run. We don't have enough
Right, we
space.
don't have enough time.
Now tool time. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Well, that depends, but,
That's right. It's so hard, right?
yeah, because I don't know if it's less than lethal or lethal. It
Right.
depends. Yeah, it
It
depends.
depends. This
Yeah,
dude is really big.
yeah,
He's balled up his fists,
and he's
right? You
already
can see
pissed
the
off.
one. He's balled that up. Do you see the
Yeah.
hand that's dropped that you can't see?
Mhm.
He has a baseball bat.
Oh, well, then
He has raised
definitely
that
lethal.
baseball
Yeah.
bat above his head. He's less than 10 feet from you, and he's coming at you real slow, challenging you. What is your answer?
Back off.
Lethal
Yeah. Back off.
versus lethal.
Yeah.
You have to answer a lethal issue with a lethal decision if capable. This man with a baseball bat 12 to 10 feet from you, raised over his head, saying, "I'm going to kill you right now." That's lethal.
Mhm.
That means your answer needs to be lethal as well. What
Mhm.
is it in your toolbox that you train with, that you're proficient with, that you would make a lethal decision with? Then I need for you to make that lethal decision, to stand up, to make that lethal decision, and get out of there. So go.
Back off.
He's not backing off. You
Well,
don't have time.
I just pulled the trigger as soon as I said back off.
Okay, excellent. Did he drop?
I don't know.
He did not drop. You only hit him once.
Oh, okay, so multiple shots.
There you go. Now what should you do?
What should I do? Once he's dropped and I make sure that I'm safe, I reholster and then
Yes.
I go to my phone. I
Yes.
dial 911.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm in this location and this
Done.
happened. Yeah.
Done. Scenario over.
Okay.
There you go. So if you put this in your mind that this is a walk away because it's not your business, and me as the coach has changed this to heighten your awareness and make you understand that getting out of there is so important, because if for any reason at that distance they decide that you're more interesting than what they're doing, and he's got a baseball bat, because you can't see the other hand, and I change that scenario on you, you've got to be able to recognize the distance and that this is a lethal problem. And verbal commands is not our first good decision, believe it or not.
Yeah, I don't know why I felt like I had to say something before I shot, but I don't.
Normal. And this is why I love what I do. I'm almost in tears. I love this so much because look what you're learning on this podcast that you've invited me on. Already you're going, I want to talk about things when there's nothing to talk about. It's action time.
There was no reason I needed to issue a verbal command in that particular instance, but I felt like for some reason, I don't know if that's a training thing. Like I just think, oh, will you always do that before you shoot? I don't know where that even comes from.
Yeah, let's get rid of that one because that's the most common.
And would I do that in real life? I suppose if that's where my brain went, then I suppose that's where it would go in real life.
Just because of this conversation we had for 5 minutes, that this nugget has now been put in your brain that thinks, maybe I need to work on that.
Definitely.
How wonderful. What a gift we've both been given today. Me to be able to say, hey, listen, can we maybe think about this a little differently? And you going, hey, maybe I need to think about this a little differently.
Right, because in the moment I won't have time to think about it. Yeah.
That's where the pre-need decision and the recognition prime decision making is coming in.
Good stuff, Shelley.
Good. Let's give you another one here. Whoop. Grab two. So let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. What is this one here? Oh, this is Brian's. This is all about pre-assault cues. This is his expansion pack. Ready? Get ready to go into action. Don't tell me
Okay.
what you're going to do on this one. Where
Okay.
the other ones we kind of worked through. Guess what? You're not working through. You're doing it. Whatever you see, you're doing it. Ready?
I better get my stuff. Oh God. Okay.
Under 12 feet from you, sitting down, mad, and you are the person they're mad at. Do it.
Back off! Back off!
He got up.
I didn't drop my pepper spray. He what?
This is awesome.
Drop stuff in your hands. Drop stuff in your hands. That's what John says all the time.
This is awesome. Okay. So our first good decision was, what did you do? You tried to move first. I saw you back off. That was awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
Then
but you said he was so close, but there I went with verbal commands again.
That's
Although
right.
he wasn't coming at me necessarily with anything. He just looks nuts. I don't know.
That's it. So why did you pull your gun?
Because he was so close.
Don't people get mad all the time? Do you pull your gun when you're in the mall and somebody's sitting on a little bench in the middle of the mall and they are having a complete fit that is 12 feet from you? Do you pull your gun on them?
Well, if they're having a fit just in general, that's different. But if they're having like you're saying he's coming at me, it's towards me. This is directed towards me? Or no?
Okay.
Was it?
I didn't say he got up.
He was sitting down? Oh, I didn't even know he was sitting down. I thought he was standing up. Okay. Oh, okay. So he's sitting down in a chair. I thought he was coming at me. I'm sorry, Shelley.
That's all right.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. Don't apologize. You are doing awesome. You are doing awesome. You're trying to think through this. And my favorite part is you grabbed pretty much everything on your desk. And like if it was going to be a snowstorm, you're like, I need milk and bread and I need it all. And I'm leaving.
I'm taking my toys and leaving right now.
I don't know what I need, but I need something.
I know I need to get out of here. Okay, so he's sitting down. Okay.
So what we've learned right now is, once again, let's start with the basics. Let's see more, which is hard, guys. I got an image here that she's trying to figure out. He is sitting down. He's in a chair.
I did not realize that.
This is happening to you, in front of you, beside you. He is a stranger.
Okay.
And we are under 12 feet. But this is happening. And he's looking at you. And he's doing this. Ah!
Okay. Well, then you could just laugh, I guess.
Don't want to challenge him. But what's our first decision? Leave or avoid.
Mm-hmm.
And if we couldn't leave or avoid, now we have to move. Is this lethal? Can you see with the hands?
Yeah.
That's it. So the pepper spray, the verbal commands, the walk away, the run away, these are all what I would be looking for in this. This isn't even pepper spray yet. He hasn't even gotten up.
Mm-hmm. I thought he was coming at me and he was standing up. So I apologize for that. I did not realize he was sitting down.
It's your experience. It's your background. It's what you saw. I'm not here to judge. I'm not even here to instruct. I'm here to coach and kind of be a guide of thinking through things. Now, once again, if I change this, and are you ready to work again?
Mm-hmm.
Get ready. He is less than 12 feet in front of you. He sees you. You are the target. He's looking at you going, ah! What would you try to do first?
Leave.
You couldn't leave. He stood up and he says, you're mine now. What's your next good one?
That would be back off. Back off.
Okay. And what do you use? And under 12 feet? Awesome.
Yeah.
And he did back off. He is on the ground, so unhappy right now. What do?
Go to a safe place and call 911.
Get your phone.
And tell them your location.
Get your phone.
911.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm at this location and this just happened.
What happened?
And help.
Go. What happened?
I was confronted by a man and I pepper sprayed him and he's on the ground and needs medical attention.
Oh gosh, thank you. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Do you need medical attention?
No.
Okay, I may send something for you anyway. So you don't get any pepper spray on you?
No.
Okay, good. What's he look like?
Oh, Shelley Hill. He is wearing a green hoodie, Caucasian, and he's on the ground. So that'll narrow it down.
You did very good.
Oh, good. It was green. Yay.
See, all we're doing is teaching you to see more, make really quick decisions with the image that's at hand. That's it. We do it every single day. Now, once again, we live in a movie, as Gabe would say, but images can still do the same thing. And when you run through this kit, one is you get the good little nuggets of trying to make good decisions. And also, people have said to me in the past, Shell, it's the kit gives you 21 cards. Well, once you go through the 21 cards, I already know what's happening. Great. Are you making really good decisions and are you getting quicker at it?
And you can change it too, like what you just did.
There it is.
Yeah.
And they say to me, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you flipped it over and you made a good decision based on either going to class or your information beforehand or the booklet, and you've made a really good decision. Can you make that a little bit more efficient for me? Can you make that really good decision that after you're turning over this card that you've seen 30 times, that now all of a sudden you see the hands first, because the hands are what we need to look at. And we're no longer looking at the face because the face won't hurt us. We need to see the hands. Are you doing that? And once you do that, are you now making recognition prime decision making on this card you've seen 30 times that your decision is so quick and so good? Oh, winning. Winning. Then you don't have to spend more money, even though we've got 300 other cards. You don't have to. You can do exactly what Miss Laura said. Change it. Every card now is from low light. Every card from this point on, you must use the flashlight first to identify the threat, and then you move on. Or you have a loved one with you on the right hand, the left hand. Or you're now in a vehicle. So every card because you're going to answer this differently. You put in your brain everything, no matter what you see, everything is at 6 feet. Not 12 feet or beyond or closer. It's everything you see is at 6 feet, because your decision at 6 feet is going to be different than 12. It's going to be different at 25, and it's going to be different beyond that. Because time management is it. Got it? I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely had a blast.
Those were some good lessons for sure.
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting is that you don't always react the way you think you will react. Like, yeah,
that's it.
And then that's why it's easy to be a couch jockey and be like, well, if that was me in that situation, I would have done this. Well, would you have really done that? I don't know.
And then you get people that are really tool fixated, and they just don't realize that, well, once again, without being too repetitive, the decision
brain has to work.
Yeah, your experience, your practice. That's what does it. And then everything else will follow. And consider being well-rounded. Consider having very good verbal commands. William April, once again, ask, tell, make. Ask, I'm sorry I don't. I'm sorry I can't help you. Tell, get away from me, with a little bit of escalation. The last one is the make. It could be the pepper spray, whatever. And it's going to be something it just needs to be quick, guttural commands. Maybe don't move. Those are all quick. I'm sorry I can't. We're not being rude. And I am sorry I can't help you. I'm sorry I can't. The next one is back away from me. I don't know you. Whatever words you want, as long as it's short and somewhat commanding. I don't know you really isn't, but that's in my head sometimes. But the last one is your make, and your make must be a don't move, a stop. Whatever your words are, wouldn't it be great to practice that while using your pepper spray so it's in your brain? because the chances of you having to use verbal commands to say, no, no, I don't have a dollar. No, thank you. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Aren't you going to use verbal commands a lot more than you're going to shoot somebody or even have to brandish a weapon? But if you do, my God, do you have to be proficient at it? Right? So why don't we look at it as a whole, not one or the other? Why don't we I'm going to be pretty darn good with all of this. So it's going to be good enough to save my life. And that's what I'm going to train for, is for others to be safe and for myself to be safe. But we forget about the pepper spray or the jack and sap, but we forget about being able to protect ourselves and having our frames or our fence up and the reasons why that would be good to practice. All these things are all a part of it. So yeah, I work my sub-second draw from 7 or 10 yards as often as I can. I was on the range 3 times this week. I was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday working that sub-second draw. And I want the decision to press the trigger. I want to see the flash, and I want to make the decision to press the trigger, not because of anything else. So I work in different modes. One is your accuracy. One is going to be with speed, and the other one's going to be the performance. So I've worked on accuracy, I worked on speed, and then I worked on putting it together and having a really good decision to press that trigger. If I can do that consistently and on demand, I'm happy. I'm happy. But you need to practice the other stuff as well. And that's what you just learned today, is that you didn't do good, bad, or indifferent. All we did is plant some nuggets that maybe I want to think about some other things. Is that not success?
Yeah, definitely. So Shelley, if people are interested in image-based decisional drills or anything else that you offer, tell us about the other things you offer and how people can find that information.
Awesome. The image-based decisional drills, that would be, I think there was like a banner or something that went up, but that would be the imagebaseddecisionaldrills.com. And I know it's long, guys, but I wanted people to know exactly what they were looking for. So imagebaseddecisionaldrills.com, and that can be an online class. You buy the kit for the online class. You can buy kit or no kit and work from home. That's wonderful. You can come to an online class that I do once a month, or you can do it in person, which is awesome. Where Brian may be, traveling, and he puts that on a Friday before a Saturday and Sunday, all day class. Or it could be somebody, once again, that is a certified instructor and is really working hard to get really good decisions out to their community. Well, that's awesome too. So maybe it's in your backyard. And then, of course, the 3 online classes that we talked about a little bit earlier. I'd love to see you in that, and of course on the range. Our main website is thecompletecombatant.com, and we cross over to 3 different websites, which I'm about to give you the last one. One is thecompletecombatant.com. The other one is that image-based decisional drills. It's just big enough that it's not on the same server, as the Complete Combatant. And then the last thing I'd like to talk about real quick is something that sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind. And if we're doing this type of decision making with adults, we'll say, because we welcome anyone ages 13 and over to come be a part of image-based decisional drills. Obviously, the tools will not all be available to them because they're 13, but making really quick decisions is something that's important. Why are we not teaching ages 4 through 13 how to make really good first decisions and critical thinking and developing good decision making at that age? Why are we just doing it for us adults? So I've got something out there that's called it's called Smart Choices Image Cards. Once again, I like it long. It's a pain, but I chose that.
Smart Choices
Image Cards. Yep.
Is that the website?
Yep. Smart
Choice
Image Cards.com. And that is not a flashcard system like the image-based is. This one is Smart Choices, and this is all about 84 image cards that I've made up with some help from the community. And on these cards, there's 84 of them. So this grows with your child. It will be age-specific cards. And let's talk about fireworks. And on the back, I put some helpful hints. But it's all about the parent or the teacher or the counselor. It's all about them to talk to the children about their experiences and what they think is important for these particular youngins to know. Let's talk about if you see this in your neighborhood, what should we do? Let's talk about where do we go to get some help?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have our safe words? Have we talked about medication that could be in the house? Have we talked about unwanted touch?
Mm.
These are all bullet points. It's not for me to tell you what to do in your parenting style. It's for you to make the decisions. Let's talk about dogs that you don't know that have a leash or are off leash. What could happen? Let's talk about this one here, a child that has started dating and they're seeing some abuse, some behavior that you might want to talk to your child about, that it's not normal and it's controlling. All these things, tourniquet. And I'm just showing a few. And I'll end with this section of the smart choices is where it started was I took a poll with about 50 people just that I know. And I said, do you have a fire extinguisher in your house? And I'm telling you, everyone said yes. And it was usually under the sink. And then some people said, oh, and I've got one in my garage, and I've got one in the back of my boat. You know, everybody was excited to tell you about that. And I said, excellent. And I said, do your kids, age specific, do they by any chance know where that's at in case there is a fire, an emergency that's small enough that they can help with? Oh, of course. Oh yeah, we talk to our kids about all of that, where it's at, even the difference in a grease fire and water and all this stuff. I'm like, that's excellent. Do they know how to work it? Did you buy
Probably
two?
not. Mm-hmm.
So you can take it outside and get that 10-year-old or that 13-year-old or 8. Once again, that's not for me to
Oh, they
decide.
would think that's fun too.
Right. But you take that out, show them how to physically work it, what to expect, the color, the explosive. Did you tell them it's okay that it covers the house in the kitchen? Did you tell them this is what's going to happen and show them so they know what to expect and that it's okay? Not one. Not one. So guess
That's
what?
like having the tool but not knowing how to use it, which is very common with lots of different tools. I'm just gonna
Decisions,
say.
decisions are more important than techniques. You've got to make a decision to get the training, then the practice, then the techniques will come.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, thank you, Shelley. That was awesome.
Thank you. I'm so glad you had me today.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about myself and just in general. So that's really, really helpful.
That's
So
awesome. And
we've
then every time I do it, I learn about teaching, right? And about myself, what my decisions are. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it doesn't look like Adam is wanting to chime in here tonight. So I think I'll just move on with what to expect for next week. Are there any parting thoughts, Shelley, that you have before we leave?
No, there really isn't, guys. Nothing
Yeah.
more than what I've already said. So I don't want to be too repetitive. It's just that know how you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that you're going to have one main, probably learning style, and that if you can add writing or verbal or images or video or whatever to it, videos, and images are stored in your long-term memory in a bigger part of your brain than words. So if you can recall that quicker and you can just mesh your main learning style with some images, you're going to be able to retain it and recall it quicker, and it's going to be stored longer. So please consider
Really cool.
adding images to your learning style so you can, get that information out of your computer a lot quicker.
That's so cool. Awesome. We learned so much, Shelley. Thank you for your time tonight. Really, really appreciate having you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys. So next week, this is funny. I didn't plan it this way on purpose, but next week on February 8th, we are going to have Brian Hill on again from the Complete Combatant, which is Shelley Hill's husband. And again, I didn't plan it that way on purpose, but Brian was on one of my very first live streams back on August 31st of 2022. I really encourage you to go back and watch that episode. That was one of my most favorite interviews. I hate to be biased, but that really was one of my favorites. And he has agreed to come back on. And so we're going to have a lot of fun next week. I'm going to be picking Brian Hill's brain, which is a very deep and wide bucket of knowledge, insight, and everything else. And so that's going to be a really fun interview that I hope that you'll join us for next week. As always, if you find value in these live streams, please be sure to join the Facebook group. It's a private group called Defenders Live with Laura Thorson. That's where you'll get everything, all the up-to-date information on everything Defenders Live. And be sure to subscribe to the Defenders Live and Defenders USA YouTube and Rumble channels. And then next week, tune in February 8th, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time next week. We'll see you then. Until then, take care.